Welcome to another weekly review here from your top of the list hosts, RB and Dom. Thanks for spending part of your week with us. So, a little bit about how we're going to do these reviews from here on out. Once theaters start to open up, movie theaters that is, we want to drop a weekly review of new films coming out to theaters. Obviously, with the current situation, we're going to try and keep the content rolling, get some new TV shows or new films on streaming services. So we figured kicking it off this week with a new Hulu film, Palm Springs, which was released, I believe, just under 3 weeks ago, starring Andy Samberg and Christine Milioti. A lot of people enjoyed this. It received a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. Film, sort of a romantic comedy with a sci-fi twist. Dom and I both got a chance to watch it over the last couple of weeks. What were your thoughts on this film, Dom?
I was a fan of this film. I thought it was pretty unique for what it is. I don't know if they have. I know that there's been a few films that have dealt with this similar concept of being stuck in a loop over and over, but I don't know if they've done it to this extent before. They have had some things like I think you were mentioning Groundhog Day earlier. That's a really good movie,
It's a great
and
movie.
a classic for what it is. But I think that this one took a little bit of a different turn on that kind of formula. Although, I guess it did follow some of the same story beats, which is why I don't think it's maybe as great as the Rotten Tomatoes score indicates. I wouldn't say it's usually the way I look at it is like anything above 90% is going to be like at least a 9 on our scale, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think this one sits around more of an 8 for me, maybe a 7.5. I'm gonna probably say an 8 because I really like his name's Sandberg.
Andy Samberg,
Andy
formerly
Samberg.
from Saturday Night Live and Brooklyn Nine-Nine now.
This is the first time I've seen him in anything, and I thought he was
Really?
great in
Okay.
this movie. Yeah, I thought he did a great job.
Yeah. So little insight, like Dom was mentioning, I'm a big Groundhog Day fan, big Happy Death Day fan, very similar subject matter, the time loop. Uh, I think Groundhog Day was the original, sort of groundbreaking. I think then you go to a film like Happy Death Day and they take a more modern twist on it. Then you take a film like this, and I think it's very similar to Happy Death Day and Groundhog Day. I can't really spot a clear difference. But that being said, what sets this film apart from like a Happy Death Day, I think it's got an all-star cast, like you said. Andy Samberg is a comedy genius. Like I said, started on SNL. I'm shocked you don't know about the Lonely Island, Dom. That's his group. They did Dick in a Box. I Just Had Sex. I'm on a Boat. That's all Andy
Whoa, whoa,
Samberg.
whoa! This is a children's show, sir.
We get what is this, a PG-13 or is this an R-rated film? This has some
This is
some
an
adult
R-rated
humor
film.
in it. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that's who Andy Samberg is. He does Brooklyn Nine-Nine now with Terry Crews on NBC. Great show, formerly on Fox, now on NBC. Um, he was also in That's My Boy with Adam Sandler playing Han Solo Burger was his character's name. Really
Is
funny in
there any
that.
relation between the two or
No
no?
relation, just friends. I think they've met on Saturday Night Live, but he's a great comic. Christine Milioti, I believe her name is, who is the female
She's
lead in this
really
film.
good in this one.
She's really good in this as well. Yeah, she adds a lot of depth to her character for a comedy film. She is from How I Met Your Mother. Yeah, Kristen Milioti, beg your pardon, Milioti. There we go. Yeah, she actually was from How I Met Your Mother originally. That's the only thing I've ever seen her in. But she's a very talented actress, and brings a lot of depth to this role. Makes you
You,
emotionally connected to the character.
Yeah, and while you're saying that, I think that's kind of why this one got such a high score on Rotten Tomatoes is I think that they did a really great job with the characters in this film, where that could be a problem with some other kinds of films out there. Like I know there's a lot of romantic comedies out there that don't have great character arcs, that don't have great character depth or backstories or like any kind of great storytelling for the characters, and that's where they falter. That's like, I know you're a huge fan of I want to say like some of those Will Ferrell style films where it's like more of just jokes, like Talladega
Yeah.
Nights comes to mind.
Absolutely.
Step
Yeah, no, you're
Brothers.
absolutely right. Step
Yeah.
Brothers, Semi-Pro.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
not
I
a lot
mean,
of
not
character
yeah.
work in those, you know what I
Yeah, and
mean?
those are feel good movies. And maybe
Yeah.
that's why I walked away from this film. I haven't given my score yet. I give this film a 7 out of 10 because maybe it wasn't the rolling on the floor laughing comedy that I expected when I saw Andy Samberg. I feel like a lot of the jokes that they did in this film were done in Happy Death Day or in Groundhog Day. But yeah, what definitely makes it an above average film is the emotional connection that we get to grow, with these characters. And not only that, but also I think the chemistry between Andy Samberg and Kristen Milioti is fantastic in this film. Now, I will say the one comedic piece I loved in this film, and I know he's a personal favorite actor of both of ours. I thought J.K. Simmons was great in this film.
Oh yeah, he is so good. A small role, but he delivers a lot with what he had.
Absolutely, and I think overall he ends up playing sort of the conscience role in this. His final meeting there with Andy Samberg in his backyard with his family. I mean that's a big part of this movie that takes all of about 10 minutes in this hour and 40-minute film, but it's clearly one of the most important parts of the film.
Yeah, and I think correct me if I'm wrong because I haven't seen the Happy Death Day films, but I have seen Groundhog Day, although it was quite a while ago. Uh, I think the reason this one is somewhat separated is that I looked it up online. They revealed it shortly after the film was released that his character in this film, he was trapped in this time loop for 40 years. I think that's kind of the main difference, that it was such a long amount of time. He was stuck in that time loop. And I think the most important part, one of the interesting parts about his character, for me at least, was that he kind of couldn't remember what his life was like before the loop.
Yes.
He was really disconnected from everything. And I think that was really great.
That's definitely fair. That's a good point that I didn't think of. I don't know that I would necessarily say Happy Death Day to You. I think it's kind of kept in that it's maybe a week, month's time. I think Groundhog Day does a great job of disorienting the audience too, because we don't know how many times that. Why am I blanking on his name here? Help me out here. Star of Groundhog Day. Come on,
What star? Who are you talking about?
the
What are you
star
talking
of
about?
Groundhog Day.
I don't remember. Are you talking about the? Oh, I can't remember his name either.
Bill Murray. There
Bill
we go.
Murray.
Bill
Oh
Murray.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Bill Murray does a great job playing that. We don't know how many times he's been up and awake in this new time loop every day. But yeah, you're right. This is the first film that does touch on not just how long he's been there, but also that he's starting to lose sense of self. And I think that's sort of what Kristen Milioti does. Brings him back into a state of wanting to regain his life, because he's falling for this character, and he's ready to just continue to live out their time loop together, but she sort of brings him back to reality and saying, we need to get out of here. I do like, although it was also touched on in Happy Death Day, how she uses science and uses her time to study and figure out a way to break this time loop, which was, like I said, also touched on in Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You as well, the sequel. But no, all in all, an enjoyable film. I wouldn't say it was, great. I don't know that it's necessarily deserving of a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, but enjoyable would be a word I'd use. Definitely would watch it. Again, with someone who had never seen it. I don't know that
Yeah,
I'd take
I
the
would
time
as
to watch
well.
it by myself a second or third or fourth time. But a good cast, comedy. It's been done before, but it keeps you laughing. Definitely worth a watch, especially while we're still all trying to stay safe and socially distance. For those of you who haven't watched it yet, give it a watch. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, I would say so as well. I liked it a lot more than you did. I like how everything resolved towards the end as well. I think that was a great kind of resolution for the characters to find, and
You
especially.
know,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I think that was one of my main problems with the film. So actually, I want to ask you about that. So
Sure.
before I say this, anyone who hasn't seen it yet, I'm going to drop a big spoiler here. um, Kristen Milioti, who our main character is sort of the wife of this bride who's getting, or the sister of this bride who's getting
Hmm.
married in Palm Springs. And one of the big revelation moments is the morning she keeps waking up in the time loop. She doesn't wake up in her room, and we finally find out she wakes up in the room of her sister's fiance.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. That was a
I
great twist for me.
I didn't see it coming. But then again, it doesn't really get resolved. She tells the guy, she sort of tells the guy off at the end, but I mean, in the end, nothing bad happens to him for cheating on his fiance the night before he gets married, which kind of rubs me the wrong way. There's not really a justice in this film. It would have taken a long time with how late in the film that's introduced to bring that up. But that was one other thing in this film that didn't necessarily sit right with me.
Yeah, and I think that Hulu kind of attracts a certain type of film. It's kind of it's not the common genre tropes that you would normally find. Like, in this case, it's a time loop. Another film that I think that Hulu does in the kind of the same vein as this one, but I think that film does a lot better. It's a different kind of story, but then again, it has some similarities. It's also a romantic comedy. Ingrid Goes West. I think that's a really great film to check out if you're on Hulu and you find yourself enjoying this kind of movie and you're kind of into something that's maybe a little more thought-provoking with your romantic comedy subplot. So I'd also recommend that one. But I think that's the kind of film Hulu's going after, and that's what attracted me to this one. And I think that's what attracted a lot of people, including critics, giving it that high 93% score on Rotten
Yeah,
Tomatoes.
and I mean, bravo to Hulu too to recognize this. This film I did not realize until doing some research for this episode was released at Sundance this past year. It's actually now the highest. The amount Hulu paid for it was the highest amount a film from Sundance has been purchased for a streaming site or a theater. But bravo to Hulu for spotting this early and then releasing it when they did. I think it has some great messages now, just sitting and thinking about it, and great correlations to what's going on right now with social distancing. Sort of a time loop, so to speak, being stuck in the same day, working from home, not being able to go out, and, being sure to not lose your sense of self.
Yeah.
I think it's on a deeper meaning. It really works, and the themes really work for this current time and day and age. Even our main character, bettering herself. She finds a way to better herself rather than just Andy Samberg, who's kind of just, yeah, he does whatever he wants because he knows he's just stuck there. So, definitely some deeper subplots as well that correlate well with the times today.
Sounds like you might improve your score there, Ryan.
I mean, I'll notch it to a 7.5. Like I said, it's not a great movie in my books. It's an enjoyable film. Very similar to, I mean, I'm not going to touch Step Brothers or I'm sorry, which was the other? Talladega Nights. There we go. Those are comedy gold to me. But like a semi-pro or some of the smaller, lesser known Will Ferrell films, it's funny.
Yeah,
I'll watch it again if it's
I
on
think it's a
TV.
different
But
kind of film, though. That's what kind of I was
no,
bringing that up
you're
for.
right. It is a different kind of film. But
Yeah,
once
like those are
again,
more like I would say a slapstick or kind of almost slapstick slash just like I don't know, like just more like adult
no,
humor.
slapstick's a great word to describe it. You're
Okay,
right.
yeah, this is more
Yeah.
of like romantic comedy, like with lots of character drama with some comedy. I'd say it's more of like maybe like Crazy Rich Asians or something like that, where the
That's
character
a
you
good
care about the characters.
that's a good correlation. I really like Crazy Rich Asians. I'd probably give it a higher score than this just
Me
because
too.
once again, I felt Crazy Rich Asians was a lot more original
Me
than
too.
this. Once again, my big knock for this film is we've seen it. We've seen time loop films in what Groundhog Day was the early 90s. We've seen it again
Yep.
in the mid 2010s with Happy Death Day, and now we're seeing it again in 2020. Yes,
Absolutely.
it's got a different story, but the same sort of ideas are same conflict, and definitely reutilizes the same style of comedy. Definitely different, like I said, plots, character development. You're right.
Yeah.
Which is why it's not a horrible film by any means. It's just my big knock is we've seen the time loop before. I would
Me too.
prefer
Yeah.
something original.
Yeah, absolutely. And quick plug here at the end of the episode. If you're also into time loops, guys, go ahead and check out my review of Dark Season 3 down below. So far, it was the most views we got on a video in a long time. But also check out our Dark Knight series and the upcoming Pixar review for Top of the List. We're going to be talking the first 11 Pixar films this Monday, this coming Monday. So that'll be the next top of the list. With that said, we'll see you soon and enjoy the rest of your week.